Morning sunlight faintly pierced through the thick fog, enveloping the undulating mountain range. Below, in a damp, dense forest, the sound of life seemed to have faded. Amidst the muddy ground was a scene of desolation, strewn with motionless bodies after a fierce battle. A player, with a bruised and bloody face, struggled to rise amidst fallen comrades, but then weakly coughed violently and collapsed onto the cold mud. Suddenly, decisive footsteps echoed, breaking the deathly silence. Hyrkan's tall figure emerged, a cold, smug smile spreading across his lips as he looked down at the gasping player. He bent down, his tone casual yet full of contempt. "Hey, Warlord is indeed an interesting game. It's precisely because there's so much freedom that there are so many eccentric people like this." Hyrkan gently bent down to pick up the war watch of the one destroyed by the dragon. The gleaming sword plunged into the ground, mere inches from the bruised face of the anonymous player. A few strands of hair were severed, and the wind from the strike sent a shiver down his spine. His eyes behind the cracked glasses stared wide in horror, mouth agape in a silent scream. "You bastard, that was—" Above him, Hyrkan's shadow fell, obscuring the light. His eyes were cold and emotionless, piercing through the man at his feet. Hyrkan's voice rang out, deep and sharp, shattering the silence. "Let me make myself clear. I was just toying with you, but I've bet a lot on this game. I warn you, and that woman too. Next time, you won't get off so easily." With that, Hyrkan walked away without hesitation, sparing his life. In the dark expanse of the forest, desperate screams of "I" and rang out before fading. Hyrkan nimbly leaped over the corpses of Ilya's crazy fans. Silently stepping on the decaying leaf litter, Hyrkan muttered to himself, vexation clear in his cold, sharp eyes. "I swear, if they dare to follow after being warned, this will be an all-out war." After a few steps, he suddenly stopped. An idea flashed in his mind, replacing anger with a bold and calculated plan. "All right," he thought, a cunning smirk appearing, "it's time to earn some extra money." Standing amidst the gloomy scenery of the Lizardman Swamp, where tree trunks stretched up like skeletal remains, Hyrkan activated a communication device. His voice rang out, cold and decisive. "Ah, is this Bangsu Guild? I just discovered a lizard dragon in the Lizardman Swamp, and I'm selling its exact location for 100,000 G. What? You think this is a prank call? I'm very serious." After the call, in a dimly lit room with towering stacks of books, Hyrkan forcefully placed a moss-covered stone shard onto the wooden table, creating a dry thud. In the messy room with towering stacks of books and ancient parchment scrolls, Hyrkan, in his hooded robe, approached the workbench. He cleared his throat, somewhat awkward facing NPC Ahimbri. "I've brought what you asked for." As soon as he finished speaking, he carefully placed a fossil egg-shaped object onto the wooden table. Cold sweat unconsciously beaded on Hyrkan's temple as he held his breath, waiting. A stream of anxious thoughts ran through his mind. "Please, I hope this is it. I don't want to have to turn the whole map upside down searching again." Ahimbri remained silent, gently pushing up his glasses. His spectacles gleamed with a mysterious light as he intently observed the object. Silence enveloped the space. Ahimbri's gaze was fixed on the cracked, moss-speckled stone egg. After what felt like an endless pause, he finally spoke, his voice contemplative. This is exactly it." Upon hearing the confirmation, Hyrkan's eyes immediately widened, filled with astonishment and relief.
Ahimbri took it, nodding in satisfaction. "This is exactly what I was looking for. Well done." A spark of excitement flashed in Hyrkan's mind. He couldn't suppress a triumphant and somewhat cold smile. "That's right, I guessed correctly." The immense joy made him feel all the effort was worthwhile. Ahimbri observed him, a hint of surprise on his face. "You're faster than I thought. I imagined someone like you would take longer." Hearing the somewhat condescending remark, Hyrkan cursed inwardly. "You knew that and still gave me the quest? What kind of NPC is this?" He suppressed his annoyance, forced a laugh, and said impatiently, "I gave it my all. All right, can you give me the next quest?" However, instead of continuing, Ahimbri raised the item, his gaze becoming unusually stern. "Do you know what this is?" The sudden question stunned Hyrkan. His confident and impatient expression vanished, replaced by speechless astonishment.
NPC Ahimbri explained with a serious expression, "Whenever we study the area around where mutated monsters appear, we find this." He held out an egg-shaped object, dark and full of cracks, and that's why I've tentatively named it the Fallen Stone. Hearing that name, Hyrkan's hand clenched slightly. His entire body felt stiff. This must be it, Hyrkan thought, the image of the armored man and the mysterious hooded woman flashing in his mind. Cold sweat beaded on his temples as the final piece fell into place. The reason they were chasing me, he suddenly realized. The stone emitting a mystical purple light in his mind was the Fallen Stone, a crucial item related to the main quest line. He recalled the armored man's serious conversation. They wanted to ensure someone else obtained this item, something that could affect the entire flow of the main quest in the future. And here I thought I'd been scammed when I took this quest. Hyrkan bitterly recalled the egg in the nest quest window that appeared earlier, with a simple request to bring an egg back from a nest and absolutely no reward.
A thought full of surprise echoed in Hyrkan's mind. I can't believe this is the main quest. Facing him, NPC Ahimbri spoke with a look of remorse, his eyes reflecting seriousness. I apologize. I know this quest might be too much for you, but we are also facing a powerful and mysterious force. Therefore, I need to test your will. After a moment of silence, Ahimbri looked straight at Hyrkan, his gaze becoming sharp and probing. So, what do you say? Are you ready to fight against corruption? Will? Of course. Beneath his cloak, a cold smile briefly appeared on Hyrkan's face, hidden in shadow. He clenched his fist, his determination surging powerfully. Becoming part of the main quest, this is a golden opportunity beyond compare.
Hyrkan declared bravely, "I will dedicate my body and soul to..." But then he suddenly stopped. Ahimbri continued, "Not now." Hyrkan's worldview shattered into pieces. He could only stammer, "Excuse me?" Standing opposite, NPC Ahimbri crossed his arms over his chest, calmly explaining, "You must have seen how strong the monsters are. I don't think I should give such a quest to a novice like you." Hyrkan froze, his mind screaming in panic. Damn it, is my level too low to continue the quest? Sweat beading on his forehead, he hurriedly stepped forward, trying to justify, but Ahimbri cut him off, continuing with a meaningful tone, "However, if you say, 'Grand Archmage Ahimbrinim, please accept me as your disciple,' then perhaps I would be willing to help you train, I think." As he finished speaking, Ahimbri's calm expression vanished, replaced by a chillingly wide grin. He leaned forward, sticking out his tongue, hands outstretched as if about to pounce on Hyrkan.
The heavy wooden door closed, and Hyrkan stepped out, donning his cloak. Instantly, a series of system notifications appeared before his eyes. Ding! You have completed the quest Egg in the Nest. You have received the title Disciple of Ahimbri. Quest Ahimbri's Teachings 2 has begun. A new quest window appeared, displaying Ahimbri's annoyingly smug, grinning face. Embarrassing memory suddenly surged back. It was the image of himself, face flushed red, hesitantly pleading, "Please accept me as..." Meanwhile, Ahimbri wore a feigned innocent look, leaning close to his ear with a mocking expression. "What was that? I didn't quite catch what you said." Hyrkan's face burned red with anger and shame, his hands clenched tightly, trembling violently as he realized he had been painfully tricked. That old man, he's really a scammer. In another scene, from within a sea of fire, a colossal monster skeleton with glowing red eyes roared as it rose, ready to destroy everything around it.
"Ceasefire!" echoed across the battleground engulfed in flames. Monster corpses lay strewn everywhere. Black smoke billowed from smoldering ruins, signaling a fierce battle had finally come to an end. Amidst the desolate scene, the surviving players began to breathe a sigh of relief. One player joyfully raised both hands to the sky, while others also couldn't hide their excitement. "Well done!" a voice rang out, mixed with the cheers. "Wow, it's finally over!" Amidst the jubilant atmosphere, another player called out loudly, "Anyone who needs healing, come over here." A warrior in golden armor eagerly ran over, fist bumping the captain, a radiant smile on his face. "Captain, our guild has finally achieved something great." The captain smiled back. "You're right. Tell everyone to rest for a bit and then regroup later." With that, he turned and quickly walked towards a figure standing silently. With a grateful expression, he spoke. "Helper, thank you very much. You're even stronger than we expected." The one called Helper remained calm, slowly using a white cloth to wipe something off his hand. He wore an elaborate silver and green armor, his face serene behind a pair of glasses. After a moment of silence, he turned and walked away, his deep, steady voice resonating. "It's nothing."
He subtly adjusted his glasses, his tone calm and somewhat distant. It's also thanks to everyone's excellent support. Hearing this, the other player quickly waved his hand, his expression and voice unable to hide his excitement and gratitude. No, not at all. If it were just us, at least 5 people would surely have died. It's thanks to you that we could complete it without anyone dying. Honestly, at first, I was skeptical when I heard about players taking money to help with boss raids. I'm so glad I called you. Saying this, he happily stepped forward, offering a small, bulging pouch. "Here you go. It's not much, but I just want you to take this." The bespectacled player glanced at the pouch, his expression unchanged. This isn't the promised remuneration. Of course, this is separate from what was promised. The other person explained eagerly. No. The brief, cold reply cut him off. The atmosphere around the bespectacled player suddenly grew heavy and somber. His eyes were sharp behind his glasses, his voice hardening, filled with menace. "I don't like breaking rules."
The anonymous player responded, flustered, sweat beating on his temples. "Oh, yes, my apologies." But internally, a storm was brewing. What? I thought he was helping for money? He glanced at the assistant's back as he walked through the gloomy forest, his jumbled thoughts continuing to surface. And for a high-level player to join such a low-level raid is also very strange. Who exactly is this person? Suddenly, the assistant stopped. Without turning around, he spoke decisively. "Then I will take all items from the nest as we agreed." The anonymous player shot to his feet, shouting in surprise at the retreating figure, "But there's nothing valuable to take in the nest." Ignoring the cry, the assistant continued steadily forward. A discreet and contented smile played on his lips. "I'm truly lucky," he thought to himself. "I never expected an opportunity to obtain the corrupted stone."
Amidst the cosmic expanse, glittering with tiny stardust-like particles, a chillingly sharp blade, emanating a fluorescent blue glow, streaked through the night. Upon hearing of the dragon lizard's revival, a worry arose within him, fearing that Hahomask had already commenced the mission. But seeing the monster, its red eyes glowing fiercely, still alive and well, he sighed in relief, a smug smile appearing on his lips. He must have failed in completing the mission. He gently landed in a desolate area, inside a colossal nest woven from dry, brittle branches. He mused, well, defeating a boss monster isn't something that relies solely on control ability. He subtly adjusted his glasses with his armored hand, a sly smile gracing his lips as his eyes gleamed with satisfaction. Now I just need to retrieve the corrupting stone and prevent Hahomask from completing the mission. With that thought, he resolutely stepped into the dragon's nest, but the stone was no longer there.
He suddenly collapsed, his armored hands clutching his head in silent agony. He gritted his teeth, his body trembling violently, then cursed loudly, a sound echoing to the heavens. At the same time, in a dark room, Jaehyun, who had been deep in thought, suddenly started and looked up. He sat cross-legged on the bed, his hands clasped, his sharp gaze fixed on the dimly glowing phone in front of him. His face was cold, concealing a long-held determination. His breathing became heavy, but his eyes glowed with a terrifying intensity. Jaehyun whispered, his resolute voice echoing in the quiet space. "Finally, the time has come. All those days I was steeped in misery. I always told myself that if I just tried a little harder, things would get better. However..."
Clenching his fists, Jaehyun gritted his teeth, a fierce determination blazing in his eyes. This frugal life ends here. With fervent resolve, he declared to himself, "I'll do it. I'll order beef." A sudden surge of excitement made Jaehyun unable to stand still. He leaped up, waving his arms and legs joyfully in the small room. "I tried my best to save on food expenses as much as possible as a precaution, but now that I've received the main quest, this should be fine, right? I also earned a bit more money this time," he mumbled, recalling the moment he unexpectedly earned money in the game. "So I think this is a well-deserved reward for myself." Jaehyun's face glowed, his cheeks flushed with joy as he stared intently at his phone screen. Time to convert it into real money, he thought to himself, his fingers swiftly tapping. Immediately, a transaction notification appeared. The words "deposit plus 1,200,144 won" from Warlord shone brightly, and his account balance soared to an impressive sum. Jaehyun smiled contentedly, thinking, this is great, time for some beef. Suddenly, a ting sound came from his phone. A large sum from Warlord had just been transferred to his account, swelling his balance promisingly. But his joy was short-lived. A series of automatic debit notifications popped up, rent, utilities, followed by a massive loan repayment. Jaehyun's exhilarated mood plummeted as he stared in shock at the final figure. From millions, his account balance was left with a mere 856 won. A shocking blow made Jaehyun feel like spitting blood. He clutched his head and wailed in despair. He screamed in indignation, "Steak dinner my ass! I can't even afford food now. Why? I've worked my butt off. Why am I completely broke in the end?" Collapsing to the floor, Jaehyun slammed his fist onto the ground, utterly devastated. Just then, the phone on the table lit up and vibrated softly. On the screen was a message from Romani. "Hey, are you still alive? Are you really going to quit WTube for good?" Seeing the message, Jaehyun suddenly came to. He mumbled to himself, Romani, I completely forgot to tell them about my situation."
In the pitch-dark room, faint light from his phone illuminated Jaehyun's sweat-drenched face. He was typing a message, looking tired and anxious. "I probably can't make any more videos because some weirdos are tracking me." His finger paused just before hitting send. A sudden thought flashed in his mind. "Wait a minute," he muttered, eyes wide with shock as a harsh truth dawned on him. Anger flared, replacing his fear. The blurry images of his pursuers appeared, but they no longer made him tremble. "Why should I be wary of them when I'm about to starve to death anyway? What did I do wrong? I'm just an innocent gamer enjoying my game." His indignation reaching its peak, Jaehyun suddenly shot up. He clenched his fists, his eyes burning with steely determination. "Forget it. I don't care anymore. I'll do what I want." Under the gloomy night sky, the cemetery appeared cold and deathly. Ancient stone tombs lay silent, surrounded by gnarled, barren tree stumps reaching dry, brittle branches upwards like ghostly arms. The chilling silence was suddenly shattered by the piercing caw of crows. On a branch, a pair of black crows with blood-red eyes perched, their cries seemingly heralding an ill omen. Suddenly, an eerie blue light burst forth from the ground, tearing through the darkness. Amidst black smoke and ethereal light, Hyrkan appeared, flanked by 3 loyal skeleton warriors. Immediately, a system notification panel materialized before Hyrkan with crisp text: "You have entered the area, Forest of Death." Pulling his hood down to conceal his face, revealing only the Haho mask glowing with mysterious blue light, Hyrkan subtly smirked. His eyes gleamed with confidence and cold determination, ready to conquer this new dangerous land.